Hello everybody, my name is Brian and I am making this video to introduce a software project that I've been working on. It is basically a utility that helps you play your favorite pen and paper role-playing game online. It started out as a fun little soundboard that I would operate during my friends and I's D&D sessions. And over the last 4 months I've continued to add features to it, and it kind of morphed into a more serious project. It went from just being a soundboard to having character profiles, and then I added a game grid, and then I added a token system and a dice roller, plus a handful of other features. At this point, I have the software complete enough to start testing. So as testing begins, I think it would be a good idea to share the project and its progress here on YouTube to gauge interest and to get your feedback. It would be wrong to not consider what people have to say about it. Alright, so let's take a look at Adventure Portal. So I'm going to run it in window mode so I can show a couple of features off better. Okay, so the menu is pretty straightforward. You can either create a game with a password, or you can list games that are available. There's no games available, so we're going to create one. And once you're inside the game, I'll go through all of what you're seeing right now. So on the left side, this is where your profile will be. This is the character sheet you're currently seeing. Excuse me. If you set yourself to DM, which is by selecting set as DM on your player tag, you bounce up to the DM slot. And now, this is now a DM profile on the left side. Once you set yourself as the DM, you can come over here and set your avatar. You can set your color, and you can put your name. And your name input will automatically update your tag. All players see each other's tags. The input fields are for whatever you want, ultimately. There's 2 on the first page, and on the notes page there's 3 more. The next tab is sound effects, and these are all categories of sounds that I can bring into the game at any point. I have a library of sounds. I don't have them all in here right now. The controls for it are pretty simple. You click on the buttons to play the sound, and oh, it's not playing. There we go. So there's 2 ways to play sounds. You can uncheck send to players, and you can test these. Now these sounds are only playing on the local client, so as the DM, you can test these out, set their volume, and then click send to player, and then send it to the then you can send it to the group and everybody will hear it. If it's a longer file and it's playing and you want to stop it, you can always hit the stop button while it's playing. Well, that's not working, but it will work. Let's see. Ambience. So there's 2 more speakers here. They operate exactly like the sound effects, except anything on this tab is a loop. So as soon as you play something, it will continue to loop until you stop it. Same with the music sounds down here. Yeah, and these will be populated with many sounds to choose from upon release. These are all in here as placeholders. So that's basically what I have for the Dungeon Master profile at this point. Now let's move to the central game map. As a DM, you have a handful of things that you can do. First and foremost, you can edit the shroud. So you have a map here, and you set you can click on it to remove parts of the shroud. These become visible to players. On the player's side of things, this entire map is black. So DMs see through the shroud, players see black. You can change your shroud brush to be big or small, and you can paint the shroud with the left mouse button, or you can right click to put it back. And here's the biggest setting. Alright, so that's basically what I have for Shroud Control at this point. The token library is a place where you can hold all your tokens, and you create new tokens by clicking the new token button, and then you select the token, and you can edit it down here. So you can set all the data for a token, set its name, and then its status, terrifying, and insight description is an extra description that the players can see if you choose to show it to them. So this would be whatever information you want. So, and then you can set its avatar. So we'll make it medium beast or small beast. And then once you have it finished, once you edit it, you can right click on the screen, or I'm sorry, left click, and you can place it. Now this thing is visible to the players. And you can edit the ones that are on the map individually. The ones in your library are kind of like the blueprint, and the one on the game grid is the one currently. There's two versions of it. So as soon as you instantiate a token on the grid, you can edit it here. You can call this Giant Ant 2, and as soon as you update that, this becomes Giant Ant 2, but the one in the library is still just Giant Ant. So if you're going to edit the one in the library, you have to click on the one in the library. If you're editing the one on the grid, you have to click on the one on the grid. So that's how that works. And if you want to save this to the library, you just select Save to Library. Now we add Giant Ant 2 to our original Giant Ant. So that's basically how that works. So you can close the library, and now, let's see. Actually, let's add that guy back and move token. So you right click to select, and then, I'm sorry, left click to select, right click to move, and that's how you move tokens around this map. And that is basically it for token movement at this point. And now I have a tool called a measure tool, and if you hold down spacebar and click on anything, it will drag out a measurement tool. So you can bounce through the grid squares, and I have it set for 5 feet per grid square. So however many grid squares you click on or move, it'll measure that for you. You can set up waypoints by clicking again and selecting a different direction, and it'll total the distance across all waypoints. And to cancel it, just let go of the spacebar. So that's how the measurement works. The DM also has a feature called Player Blackout. So Show Map and Blackout Map are the two settings. To show map, the player sees exactly what you see here minus the shroud. The shroud is black to them. If you click on blackout, you still see everything as a DM, but the player sees a blackout screen that says Adventure Portal, please wait. And I'll show you that here. I'll show you that right now. I'll fire up another version of Adventure Portal. Another copy. I will list games. I'll join the one that I just created. And we are showing map right now. So we're showing map. Now if I click blackout over here, that's what it looks like to the player. So the DM can work behind the scenes effectively, change icons, set things up, change the map, scale things differently, do whatever you got to do, and the players have basically an intermission screen, and you can play some tavern violin while they're waiting. So that's basically the DM controls. Oh, one more thing. The DM can change and scale the map texture as they see fit. So you can select different backgrounds, scale them to match the situation, and that's about it on the maps. Let me turn that off. Now, what else? Oh, right, the dice roller. Here's the dice roller. These you can roll any dice, any quantity, and then you can type in any modifier. So 4, 2d20, and then roll it, and you'll get your result here, and it will be public to everybody up here unless you uncheck make result public. If you uncheck that and then roll, it'll say private, and then it'll show you what you rolled. This will not be seen by everybody. This top one will. That's about it on the dice roller. So let's check out the chat box now. The chat box is pretty straightforward. It's a public message to everybody. If you want to send a private message, then uncheck who you don't want to receive it. So I unchecked myself, and I am going to send another message, and now it's private. And as you can see, oh, I'm the DM, so I'm sending the message to myself, not the player. So over here, the player got the first message, they did not get the second message. You received the second message as private. That goes for anybody who's playing. If you want them to receive your messages, check their boxes. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is some of the player operation. So I'm still on the DM here, so I'm going to take the Shroud Edit tool and I'm going to reveal some map here. And then I'm going to show the map to the player. Now the player can see the map. Alright, now the player has joined and has not done anything yet. So the first thing the player needs to do is load a profile or fill out their character sheet here. I'm going to load character example here. Load. Alright, so this is a fully fleshed out character on the left side. A lot of things are just like the DM. You can select your profile picture by clicking on the avatar. And there is much more information on the character sheet. I took most of this from the D&D player handbook, so it's going to resemble that quite closely. As far as all the information, there is some differences though. I have large notes panels just like the DM, so the player can put in any kind of information about themselves that they see fit. The abilities, obviously here you can just check it out. These are all input fields. They're basically like notepads that you can scribble anything in. They just are organized for your convenience. Eventually I might want to make these more automated, and to where if you increase dexterity modifiers, things over here automatically update with them, that type of thing. But as of right now I do not have that, but that is on the agenda. So this is the abilities tab. The equipment tab is much like the DM. It's just a bunch of input fields for you to enter your data. The character screen or character tab is more of the same. This is your character's personal details, and then of course the spells tab where you have some slots for all 9 spell levels, and then a notes area that you can describe the spells. So that's the character screen as I have it now. And these are loadable and savable just like the DM profile. So as a player, all you have to do is once you have a character sheet loaded, you can right click anywhere on the grid to place your character. And as a player, you can't see as much as the DM, naturally of course. So I'm going to have the DM go to the token library, and he's going to put giant ant back into the screen. I'm going to set the giant ant to show name, show status, and show extended info. Now let's go back to the player. Now the player can see everything about giant ant. The player can, wait a minute, this isn't the player. There we go. There's the player. Yeah, players can't see through the grid. All right, so the player can click on giant ant, and they won't get all the other information. They'll just get the center gray box. where they can see the visual description, the name, and its status. So right now its status is searching. As in our first playtest, we actually would use status to indicate whether they're dying, bleeding, searching, stunned, charmed. Anything relevant to its state should be put in status. And also, if one of the players has special insight or they're an expert on this type of beast, the DM can choose to show the insight description, which is it's just a more detailed description of what they can already see. That is about it for the player. The player controls their profile, and they can move themselves around the map. That's about it for the player. Or the learning curve for the player is near zero as I have it now. They also have use of the measuring tool. So you can hold hold space, click, set your waypoints, and it will record the distance up here in the top left in this little box. Let go to cancel it. Eventually I'm going to make a waypoint movement system where you can select your guy, set your waypoints, learn the distance, and then right click, and it'll actually follow those waypoints and move as you intended. That's something that's going to be implemented later, but as of right now I do not have that working. Let's see. Is there anything else I am missing? I don't think so. That is pretty much the whole program in a nutshell. So that's basically it for now. This game is going to continue to be developed. There's several more features I want to add, but as it is now, I think it's playable. We're actually going to start playtesting this, and I am really looking forward to seeing how it goes. Any comments, questions, ideas, feel free to leave a comment, and thanks for watching.